Hello, everyone. It's Woda again, and I'm elbow deep in another Google spreadsheet. So today we're going to talk about formatting your cells and your data to make it look pretty, easier to read, or whatever. So let's get started. I got myself a new blank spreadsheet here, and we're just going to talk about some of the options kind of up here in this area and how to format data. So a couple of things, I've talked before about how in Google Sheets or any Google product, there's nothing you can't undo. There's nothing you can't fix if you think you've broken it. So if at some point, you're messing around your spreadsheet and something is wonky, a couple things that you need to remember here are these two arrows, undo and redo. You're probably familiar with that because you've probably used that before in some other application. But undo and redo right there. Super handy. So if I type some stuff in there and I don't like that, I can undo it. Or I'm like, oh, you know what? I did like that. Boom, it's back. So that's undo and redo. Super important and handy. So one thing I've got up here is I've got this frozen column up here. And notice that when I select things, I can select individual cells. I can select entire columns. I can select entire rows. Or I can drag around and get blocks of data and format things that way. Also, when you're selecting rows and columns, if you just hold it, click on it, and move across, you can do entire columns or entire rows too. That's interesting too. All right, so let's say I'm making a list of something. Student name, right? Maybe homeschool program, grade, or let's see, grade level. Right, I'm making these headers. So maybe you want to make those stand out a little bit more than they already do. So what you could do, you could drag and pull those over is one way to select them, because that's what we need to do first, is select those. I would probably, since I know that this entire, no matter how far I go out, these are all going to be headers. I'm going to just click the one, and that's going to select all the way over, right? So now I can do whatever I'm going to do with it. So one thing I might do is I might want to make it bold, right? That'll make it stand out. I can do the italics, whatever. You can tell, as long as it's selected and you kind of click through here, there are things that you can do with it. You might want to change its color. Maybe you want it to be that color of red. Maybe you want the background to be blue. I don't know why you would do that. That's terribly difficult to see. I'm going to use the undo button because that doesn't look good. If you say, I don't know, grade level, maybe you're using this as a reference because you're checking things off a list or whatever, and you've got, Tommy's name. I don't know why I'm picking generic names, but Ann, I don't know. And so let's say you've got Ann's stuff, and she's from Dawson Bryant, and she's in welding. I don't know, and she's a senior, right? So let's say we're going through this list, you know what? Ann withdrew from school. She doesn't go here anymore. She went back to Dawson Bryant. So you might just delete that data, or you could strike through it, right? And the reason you might want to do that is, I might need to count her for something because she was here at one point or whatever. So you can strike through her, and that indicates, something, whatever that indicates to you, that she's gone or she's moving on or whatever. So that's another thing that you can do there. We talked about the changing the color, so you could also do that. Maybe, in your process, when they're blue and struck out, that means that they went back to their home school and they're not here anymore. Or maybe if it's red and they struck out, they dropped out of school or something like that. It's whatever process you're working through. So there's that. You can another thing that you can do is maybe you want these grid lines to be more pronounced. Maybe this is the entire set of data, so you can kind of select those like I did. I just clicked up there at student name, but I clicked it and I held it, and now I'm dragging out. You can do some other things here with it. You can make these grid lines stand out. You can, I don't know why you would need to do that. Maybe this is you're adding things together, right? It's 12 and 15 and 18. I don't know. These are things that you're adding together, and you want to just make a line just underneath it, right? So it looks like that. So these are things you can play around with. You can mess with the color of the border. So maybe you want it to be blue or some other different color. You can also mess with the type of line. So maybe you want it to be dashed or really heavy or a double line or something like that. That's another way that you can format kind of the grid lines there. So another thing that might be interesting, I don't like that these aren't centered, right? So what I'm going to do is select this entire column, just like I did the header row. And I got an opportunity here to make it left justify, which it is now, center, or right. I'm going to click center because I like that. Now, there's not a ton of stuff in here. Maybe I want this to be student name, last, comma, first, just to make this a little bit longer, right? So you can see how this is kind of all cut off, right? It says int name last or whatever. So what you might want to do there is you can go to this text wrapping right here, and you can say, I want it to overflow and just stop, or I want it to wrap around. I'll show you that one. Or I just want it to clip it off. What we're going to do is choose wrap here, and you're going to see it turns it into 2 lines, right? So now, once I've done that, you can see these are all kind of sitting at the bottom, and I just think it would look better if they were kind of in the middle of that cell. So you can go over here to the alignment, and you can choose on the top, on the middle, or on the bottom. I'm going to choose the middle to move everything in the middle, and now that looks nice and pretty. So that's another option you have for formatting. Obviously, you can change the type of font that you'd like. Let's choose a terrible one like Comic Sans. I just don't like that. It's a personal preference. You can choose the font size, so you can change that. You can merge cells together. So let's say gray level for some reason is going to spill over into another one, so you want to merge that. You can. If you decide you don't like that, you can unmerge it. So there's that. I haven't messed a whole lot with this, but you can turn the letters sideways if you want. That doesn't look great, but there's that. I mean, there would be a purpose for that, I know. So that's it. That's kind of the format of the cells. And that's one way to do it through this toolbar. You can also do some formatting things through here too. So it's all personal preference as to how you'd prefer to do that. So that's kind of some simple basic formatting that I wanted to kind of show you in Google Sheets. Obviously, there's way more to cover in Sheets, and I'm happy to do that. So I'll be making some more videos. So keep checking back on the checklist. I'll put a link to the Google Help page for formatting in this video, in the YouTube video. So you can go down there and check that out too. So hope this was helpful. As always, if you need something from me, you can get a hold of me through email or through Google Chat at woda@collins-cc.edu, or through Twitter. I'm on there at Mr. Woda. Hope this was helpful. Have a great day. Bye.